Coming up on News 11, students at SUNY Fredonia stand up against and protest cuts. Texas battles some of its largest wildfires in history, and France makes a new amendment to their constitution. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now. Good evening and welcome back to News 11. I'm Kellyanne Hender.
And I'm Lily Hauer.
We have a lot of exciting stories to cover, so let's get started with your local news. This past Friday, hundreds of SUNY Fredonia students took their advocacy around campus and into the village. They were protesting the proposed cutting of 13 programs on campus, many that are arts and humanities. This is following a trip to Albany that Students for Fredonia took to advocate for fair funding. The group has expressed that they are passionate about transparency in the school's budget and decisions being made with students in mind. The demonstration included live music, dancing, displays of the arts, as well as student speakers. It was truly a display of students' love for the arts at Fredonia.
One of our very own from Dunkirk, New York, is a national boxing champion. 10-year-old Anais Rodriguez won the Silver Glove National Championship for her age and weight bracket. Coach Chris Rodriguez is the president of Kids at Promise, a nonprofit youth program in Dunkirk, expressed his pride in his student. He says that when Anais first started boxing, she had a difficult time with the emotional discipline. Through hard work and dedication, over the course of only a year, she proved herself to be strong and confident. Anais was one of 2 boxers from the area to qualify for the national tournament. Her and her coach are a great example of the strength of the community's support in sports.
The Department of Transportation has announced lane closures and shifts on I-86 this coming week. The bridges over Bemis Point of Chautauqua Lake are a part of this ongoing project, and transportation will be affected. Beginning at 6 a.m. on Saturday, the traffic will be reduced to 1 lane in both directions. This project will be continuing throughout the 2024 season. The state reminds drivers to slow down and be cautious driving in work zones and to be aware of doubled speeding fines.
I hope you saved all of your pink from the release of Barbie this past summer because it is coming to Darien Lake. Barbie the movie in concert will be at the amphitheater on August 14th. Experience the movie with a live orchestra in a unique environment. Tickets go on sale to the general public this Friday, March 8th at 10 a.m.
Are you looking to combine your love of reading and having a glass of wine out with friends? Well, Devin Powers, owner of bestseller Book Bar, is bringing that to life. She wanted to bring her love of reading to a cozy place where people can come and have a drink independently or find community in a book club. The bar is opening on Main Street in Clarence, New York, and will serve beer, wine, and small bites to eat. More updates to come on the venue's opening.
The popular summertime classic restaurant, Mississippi Muds, in Tonawanda, New York, has opened early due to the weather in western New York. The sunny, warm days pushed Frank Barafito, who owns the restaurant with his family, to open their doors on March 2nd. Barafito said, quote, "We're going to fine-tune some things, but it'll be the status quo. We know what the people of western New York like, so we're going to go for it another year," end quote. The riverfront views are perfect for the menu of hot dogs, grilled chicken, burgers, sandwiches, ice cream, and milkshakes with an assortment of vegan-friendly options as well.
The vegan restaurant scene in Buffalo are currently helping one another out in their times of need. The vegan restaurant Good and Evil Vegan Eats in North Tonawanda recently made a post stating that they may be turning to putting animal products on their menu to keep doors open. In an effort to keep Good and Evil an all-vegan restaurant, Strong Hearts, another vegan restaurant located in Buffalo, posted stating that they would offer a 10% discount to anyone who shows a receipt spending $25 or more at Good and Evil within the past 10 days. To check out and support either vegan restaurant, you can visit Good and Evil at 21 Main Street in Tonawanda, New York, and Strong Hearts at 295 Niagara Street in Buffalo, New York.
Do you or a loved one have a voice of an angel that deserves to be heard? Well, now you have the chance to showcase your talents in front of a live audience. With only 3 weeks until opening day at Salem Field, the Buffalo Bisons are looking for singers to perform the national anthem this baseball season during their home games. Auditions will be held on Saturday, March 16th from 10 a.m. to noon at Salem Field in Buffalo. For the tryout, all singers will be asked to perform the Star-Spangled Banner and O Canada. Instrumental performances are welcome as well.
3 more legal marijuana dispensaries have opened in the Buffalo region, and all of them are women or minority owned. These stores include Buffalo Dreams on Niagara Falls Boulevard in Buffalo, 716 Cannabis in Blaisdell, and treehead culture in the town of Amherst. This makes the total number of legal dispensaries in the Buffalo region 7. Governor Kathy Hochul has stated that 2/3 of all legal dispensaries in New York State are also either women or minority owned.
A Buffalo chef is appearing on the Food Network once again. Chef Camille Lecayer will appear on 24 and 24, Last Chef Standing. The show premieres April 14th with 24 chefs taking on 24 different challenges in 24 hours. The champion of the show will take home $50,000. And when we return, we'll have your national stories. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, Miss Flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
Good night.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Texas is currently battling its largest wildfire in history. There are currently over 5 fires aflame in Texas across 4 different counties in the Texas Panhandle. The fires have already claimed 2 lives, demolished hundreds of structures, and thousands of cattle, and weather conditions threaten to make the fires even worse. The Storm Prediction Center said that there is a large region at an elevated risk of fire activity all the way from western Texas to southeastern South Dakota, including those in Denver and Colorado Springs, as well as Oklahoma. The wildfires have been a deadly blow to the state of Texas as it impacted the state's celebration of its Independence Day this past Saturday, as well as making a large impact on their cattle, as 85% of their cattle are in the Texas Panhandle, the area largely affected in the wildfires. Currently, the wildfires still seem hard to contain, but the governor and citizens of Texas are doing everything in their power to keep their state safe.
A historical Supreme Court decision was made regarding the appearance of former President Donald Trump's name on the ballot this fall. The desire to remove his name from the ballot comes from his alleged violation of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution in regards to January 6, 2021. More specifically, Section 3 of the amendment, commonly referred to as the insurrectionist ban, it was denied that his name cannot be removed from the ballot in Colorado or any other state, namely Maine and Illinois, who also made efforts to have his name taken off the ballot. The court ruled unanimously that the election of a federal position, like the president, only Congress can make such removals from the ballot. The decision made by the Supreme Court also made it more difficult to enforce the insurrectionist ban on the federal level. This is regarded as a huge win for the former president and step back in any efforts to hold him accountable.
Member of the Air National Guardsman Jax Texera has pleaded guilty to the charges brought against him for the leaking of classified government documents. All 6 counts of willful retention and transmission of national defense information could land Texera 16 years in prison. As a part of his plea agreement, he is not charged under the Espionage Act. His job in the Air Force required him to troubleshoot issues with computers, and he should not have had access to the documents he leaked in the first place. Hundreds of classified documents were copied and posted to Discord. 15 other members of the Air Force were also reprimanded for knowing of Texera's crimes and not bringing them forth properly. Texera could still face charges from the U.S. military and is set to be sentenced for his plea agreement on September 27.
It was announced Monday that JetBlue has pulled out of their purchasing deal with Spirit Airlines. The Justice Department blocked the merge from happening in order to keep the companies independent, in turn, increasing competition and preserving affordable prices. The 4 major airlines in the United States are responsible for about 80% of the sky's traffic. Through many mergers over the last 20 years, this block is a part of Biden's ongoing efforts to stop business merging. JetBlue agreed to pay Spirit $69 million for pulling out of the deal. Spirit Airlines will have financial obstacles to overcome, competing with the high-quality services of major airlines. Analysts fear for the future of the company as they reported a $359.5 million loss in 2023.
A Texas man has been arrested following the discovery of a girl who was missing for 8 days. The missing girl, a 13-year-old minor, went missing from her home on February 22nd. That Wednesday, police issued an Amber Alert under concerns that she may have been trafficked. However, the girl was found unharmed 73 miles away from Houston and Columbus, Texas. She was subsequently taken to Texas Children's Hospital for evaluation. The suspect, Sespetarian Preston, attempted to flee police. However, he was detained, charged with evading police, and is currently being held at the Colorado County Detention Facility.
Planning on heading to Miami for spring break? So are many young travelers, and Miami officials are buckling down on tourists who like to ignore regulations. Miami Beach released a video on Friday titled, "We're Breaking Up With You." The advertisement shows locals breaking up with spring breakers who are just in Miami to break the law. This is in response to fatal shootings that have happened in the city among unruly crowds this time of year. Law enforcement will be implementing curfews, bag checks, restricted beach access, DUI checkpoints, and parking fees in an effort to subdue misbehaving guests. These measures will be in effect every Thursday through Sunday in the month of March, with law enforcement working overtime to ensure the safety of locals and travelers. They have expressed that they have no issues making arrests and confiscating firearms to keep spring break secure. And when we return, Ethan joins us for our sports update, and we'll have Jenna for your first look at weather. We'll be right back.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
We're now joined by Ethan Smith, who will be giving us our weekly sports update. What's going on in sports, Ethan?
Thanks, Kellyanne. Verdun women's lacrosse team continued their hot start to the season, demolishing Hilbert College last Saturday with a score of 20-0. Freshman Leah Kunish led the way for the Blue Devils offensively, scoring 5 goals and tallying 1 assist. Her junior teammate Emma Cockrell also provided a bevy of scoring with 4 goals to her name. Freshman netminder Ashley Mange recorded her first career shutout during the domination. The lacrosse team will be traveling to Morrisville for a 2 p.m. game on Saturday. The Fredonia baseball team began play this past weekend, splitting a doubleheader against Pitt Bradford. The first game was a 10-9 Blue Devils walk-off win on a sacrifice fly in the 10th inning. The winning sacrifice fly was smashed by Kyle Tedford to go along with 3 hits and 2 RBIs in the game. Other notable performances from the first game were Garrett Stuckey, who went deep on a 2-run shot, as well as Alex Gannon, who also drove in 2 with a blast over the fence. The second game was not what the Blue Devils were hoping for, as they were bounced 2-10 in a losing effort, recording just 4 total hits. The 2 runs came on a bases-clearing double by Garrett Stuckey. The other 2 Blue Devils to record a hit in this game were Christian Pagano and Ethan Beneke. In Buffalo sports, the Sabres continued their battle to try and make the playoffs, notching big wins over the Tampa Bay Lightning, winning 3-2 in overtime, and the Vegas Golden Knights, who were without the former Sabre Jack Eichel for the game, whom they sorely missed as the Golden Knights were smacked silly, losing 7-2. The Sabres then fell to the Winnipeg Jets this previous Sunday, 5-2, with Sabres goals coming by way of J.J. Peterka and Eric Robinson. The Buffalo Bandits have continued their habitual losing, still reeling from losing veteran shot stuffer Matt Vince to IR, dropping a game to the last-place Vancouver Warriors, 13-12. The Bandits will look to right the ship when they host the Saskatchewan Rush this Friday at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you so much, Ethan. That was a lot of information. I am actually so happy that the Sabres are doing good, but they're also not doing good.
They cannot buy consistency right now.
Well, also the really sad thing that just happened today, the day we're filming this, is they traded Casey Middlestat, which...
Who was our leading point getter this season?
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Why would they do
I'm
that?
not paid enough to make those decisions, Kellyanne.
As long as they don't trade Pookie, all is good in the world. All right, now we're going to toss it over to Jenna for our weather. How's it looking for our weather, Jenna?
Thank you. Tonight we're going to be seeing a slight drop in temperature from the heat wave we've had this week with the low of 38 degrees. The sky will be cloudy with a 24% chance of rain overnight. On Thursday, the high will be a nice 49 degrees with the low being 37. The clouds will be carrying over into Thursday from Wednesday evening, getting even cloudier as the day goes on. Stay tuned to see what your weekend weather will look like.
Thank you so much, Jenna. And when we return, we will have your international stories. We'll be right back.
When you think of the local lowdown, what do you think of?
Well, when I think of the local lowdown, it's the live music that we have played in the studio.
It's gotta be the laughs we shared. The memorable moments during the whole thing. Oh my God, so fun.
The local lowdown for me is the people behind the scenes, the amazing team that we have making the show.
Oh, it's gotta be exploring all sorts of genres and music I've never heard before.
Oh, easy. Going out to shows and talking to artists and getting the latest news on what they have planned for the future.
It's about these artists, man. Giving them a platform to showcase what they've worked so hard on and show their music to the community. It's all about supporting the local scene of music to keep it running for years to come. And of course, the band merch. You can't forget about the merch.
The Russian military has continued its invasion of Ukraine as the Ukrainian forces have withdrawn from a key region of their country. On February 17th, the Ukrainian military announced a withdrawal from the village of Avdiivka, relocating to a new defensive front to the west of the village. Russian forces quickly capitalized, occupying Avdiivka. Russia continued its advance, quickly challenging the newly established Ukrainian front. 3 other nearby villages, with reports from Moscow claiming that they now partially occupy all 3 of the villages, a claim Ukraine has denied. These attacks are in accordance with a deep crisis for munitions and supplies to Ukrainian frontline troops, leaving them wondering how long they can withstand the Russian onslaught. To contribute the dwindling hope, the newly instated commander of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, General Alexander Skirsky, has criticized his subordinate officers for mishandling of the key front line. The lack of faith in leadership is sowing pessimism among Ukraine's soldiers, with one officer on the front line saying, quote, "We can feel Russian superiority in personnel, artillery, and armed vehicles. They moved forward little by little. We have not many options here. Fall back or just wait till we are. No matter how sad it may sound, till we are all killed. Without weapons, it is a war you can fight with a sword," end quote. President Volodymyr Zelensky stated last weekend that the death total for Ukrainian troops has totaled 31,000 since the Russian invasion began 2 years ago, although the true total is believed to be much higher.
This past Monday, France made history as it voted into its constitution rights on abortion. Lawmakers from both houses of the French parliament voted 780 to 72 in favor of the amendment, clearing the 3/5 majority to amend the French constitution. This vote comes with huge support from the citizens of France, as after the vote, the Eiffel Tower was lit up saying, quote, "My body, my choice," end quote. The amendment states that there is a, quote, "guaranteed freedom," end quote, to abortion in France. Lawmakers hope that this history-making way from France sets a precedent for other countries in Europe and across the world to support reproduction rights as well.
The European Union has fined Apple $2 billion for breaking competition laws. This will be the first ever antitrust penalty for the American superpower. Apple is being accused of suppressing the advertising of other music streaming services that may be more affordable to iOS users such as Spotify. The iOS software currently bans app developers from informing users of the difference in subscription prices of their app versus website. Apple claims that there is a fair playing field between all app developers and their app stores and will be filing for appeal on the fine. The European Commission claims the company is abusing its power as the dominant distributor of apps and hindering millions of people's choices. The fine amount is approximately 0.5% of Apple's worldwide annual earnings. And after the break, a look at Dune 2, Netflix reality TV, and Rihanna. We'll be right back.
The sequel, a popular science fiction adaptation, has taken the box office by storm. Dune 2, released on March 1st, earned $81.5 million at the box office opening weekend. This is almost double of what the first Dune movie made its first weekend in theaters. So far in 2024, the box office has not yet seen as high of numbers as other years. However, the earnings from Dune 2 have created an outlier in the data. Jeff Goldstein, president of domestic distribution at Warner Bros. Pictures, said, quote, "We created a cultural moment, and it started with this extraordinary movie that Denis Villeneuve told in a really compelling way, and a cast has worked their butt off around the world for this movie," end quote.
The Netflix reality show Love on the Spectrum is facing criticism from autism advocates regarding the issues with representation the show follows. Adults on the autism spectrum who are looking for a partner. It features relationship coaches as well as loved ones along the way. Advocates for autism representation have criticized the show for its sometimes infantilizing and stereotypical way of depicting the cast members. They also argue that the show focuses very heavily on the social aspect of living with autism, with almost no regard for the intricate personal struggles as well. The aspect of the show they are the most frustrated with is the pressure for the cast members to mask and act normal. There is an infinite number of ways that autism can be presented in a person, and the reality show has a hard time covering more than a couple bases. However, some are pleased to have the show and appreciative of any representation at all.
This past weekend, Rihanna was paid a pretty penny to perform at a wedding. The wedding took place in India for the marriage of Anita Ambani and Radhika Merchant, where she was paid $6.3 million to perform. Her concert, the first in many years since her appearance at the Super Bowl halftime show, was performed Friday night in front of a large crowd at a private event in the nation's city of Jamnagar. The wedding between the couple has not yet taken place, as Rihanna's performance was an early special event prior to their actual ceremony. Lily, $6.3 million is a lot of dollars.
That's a lot of money. I haven't seen the first Dune movie, so I don't really know what I'm missing.
Oh yeah, I just know that Timothée Chalamet is in it.
And Zendaya's in it.
That's all I care about.
I care about Zendaya.
All I care about is poop poop. It's like really all I care about.
Those are our pookies.
I think we should all go together.
I agree.
Crew and go see Dune 2. So
this is happening. You
all
heard
right.
it here first.
Now we're gonna toss it one more time tonight for the weekend weather. How's it look for the end of the week, Jenna?
To start off our spring break, we're going to be seeing a high of 56 degrees and a low of 46 on Friday. There's a slight chance of showers, with the chance increasing throughout the day. On Saturday, the high will be about 52 with a low of 35. We should be seeing a little more rain that day, with about 1/4 projected rainfall. On Sunday, be prepared for a steep drop in temperatures, with a high of only 36 and a low of 32. There's a high chance that we'll see some snowfall, and the winds could get up to 20 miles per hour. That's all for your weekend weather.
Thank you so much, Jenna. A little disappointing to hear that our spring break is going to be starting on a bit of a sad, rainy note.
We used up all of our warm weather days.
We really did. All right, well, that does it for News 11 tonight. Thank you to our behind-the-scenes crew. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
To make up for our absence next week, we have a special feature from Mike Igo. If you're interested in how to make a sensational stand-up, we have a couple of tips and tricks. Stick around. And as always, thank you to everyone watching at home. Have a great night.
Hi everybody and welcome to the program. I'm Professor Mike Igo. Today we're going to talk about how to do effective stand-ups. And for new reporters, I think the stand-up is probably one of the most misunderstood parts of the news package. Besides just being an on-camera presence, if done properly, it can do many other useful things. You can talk about something you don't have visuals of. It can serve as a transition from point to point or from place to place. Or it can show you're actually involved in the story. And here's the part many reporters, both new and established ones, struggle with. What do you say in a stand-up? The professionals recommend, when possible, Do your interviews first, before your stand-up.
Obviously, your story's going to change as soon as you do an interview, so I always do the stand-up last, because then I know how the story's generally going to go, and then I can sort of fill in the gap that I need.
After you do the interview, you can select the sound bites that you'll be using. Information from an interview you don't use can become your stand-up, and also be used as information for the package. And now that you have the information, let's talk about the mechanics. In all my classes and seminars, I enforce what's called Professor Igo's no statues policy. What does the statue do? Nothing. And that's what you don't want to do. You should always be doing something. Interact with your environment, or whatever feels to be appropriate for your particular story.
For a good and interesting stand-up, you should be as interactive as possible with your environment.
So not being a statue, not being scripted or fake, just you being you, I think.
Of course, there's always the issue of nerves.
I laugh a lot before I do the stand-up because when I get nervous, I giggle. So I just try to shake it out and get out all my giggles.
When looking at the camera, it helps to picture a friendly face in front of the lens.
Interacting to the camera like it's a real person keeps it real. You don't want to feel like it's been manufactured.
Just speak to the camera as if it were a relative. It makes things a lot easier.
To loosen yourself up, practice the stand-up several times aloud, then record it.
If you keep doing it over and over and over again, there's a good chance at least one of them is good.
To make a stand-up interactive, try to match it to your personality.
Do something that makes you feel comfortable, something that feels natural, something that's not forced or contrived.
An interactive stand-up is beneficial to you and the viewer.
If you can bring your viewer into the story, it's gonna make your story feel better. It's gonna make it more watchable, more just entertaining for the viewer.
After a long day of rocking the Commons, people are taking their last chance to catch the band live.
You want to make sure that the viewer feels like they're there and they're a part of the story and that the story is important to them.
Here are a few examples of students doing something in their stand-ups.
Receiving a care package from your family is fun, until you have to travel to the other side of campus to pick it up and drag it all the way back to your dorm.
I'm here at Old Fort Niagara, taking a trip back in time to the 18th century, a time when modern luxuries like lighters did not exist, and the only way to light a fire was to use flint and steel.
As you can see, people are still handing out candy. Trick or treat. Thank you. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Rockwall now open Monday 2:30 to 4:30 and Wednesday 1 to 4.
Even though leaf removal is a lengthy process, there are still some community members who wish that there was a better way of picking up the leaves.
The assistants provide many services to the dogs. They help the dogs having shower every week, and the dogs can go out for walking twice a day.
Another way to jazz up your stand-up is with a multiple cut one.
3 cuts or 2 cuts, however many cuts you do, keeps it moving, keeps it so that, you're not just watching someone speaking, you're more involved in the story.
And here are a few student examples of multi-cut stand-ups.
The scooters serve as a grab-and-go option, allowing users to simply find a scooter, scan the QR code, and go. But remember, users should wear a helmet and must have a valid driver's license to ride.
From learning the music to learning the dance moves, there's a lot that goes into being a member of Noteworthy.
There are raffles, CDs, and shirts like these on sale at the event to benefit Roswell.
During the day, this may look like a normal hiking spot. But at night, things get a little bit spookier on the trail.
However, they instructed that a mask is better than no mask.
Here at SUNY Fredonia, your meal plan does not only pay for the college essentials, but also this piece of property nearby that's not easily accessible for students to get to.
This exhibit features many mesmerizing paintings and sculptures by artist John Buck.
Here at Next Chapter Bookstore, you might find a book that might interest you. Like this one, for me.
With all these rules, you might be wondering what's appropriate. What can you wear? Like, can you wear this? Or these? If you feel like you shouldn't, Fredonia professors have advice for you.
But if you do a multi-cut stand-up, watch out for continuity. See if you can spot the continuity mistakes in this 4-cut stand-up.
SUNY Fredonia has 3 different locations on campus where they can use their First Amendment rights and speak freely. One of those is here at Dodds Grove, right here on the Tim Hortons patio, and lastly, right here in the area surrounding the campus clock tower near Central Ave. But Rafferty set up his table right here outside of Mason Hall, which is not one of the locations listed on the campus website.
In 2 of these, the reporter had his hat on. 2 of them, he didn't. Another tip about transitions.
So you could do something like putting your hand over the camera, or covering it with an object, or even like walking in and out of the frame.
You can also add tight shots of what you're talking about in the stand-up to make it more visually interesting.
The quality of the queen bee is important for beekeeping. Beekeepers artificially cultivate the new queen bees and expand the reproduction.
After the key session printing, the process of the printing paper is also necessary. The most expensive product is that needs manual process instead of those made by cost-cutter machines.
Of course, quality audio is just as important as a quality message in your stand-up, so don't rely on your camera's shotgun mic.
And here's exactly how bad it might sound.
Use either a stick or a lavalier mic. A lavalier mic is especially good because it frees your hands up if you need to do something in your stand-up.
It's a Sinclairville Annual History Fair.
We've got a bunch of events happening right behind us right now with live music, raffle games, and food.
But whatever your stand-up entails, one thing you should always remember.
Have faith in yourself. That's all that really matters, essentially.
Yes, confidence is the key. You know, doing a good stand-up is a lot like learning to play an instrument or excelling at sports. You just have to keep practicing until you get better. And you will. I'm Professor Mike Iga, wishing you well on all your future projects as well as your career.